So there is a comfort level as a buyer broker, being able to provide a longer due diligence period before contract to give your clients time to get used to particular neighborhoods and to experience them,
Hmm.
like you said, daytime, nighttime, during rush hour traffic drive and not, or whatever
Hmm.
the parameters might be. You actually get to spend more time getting your head around the purchase as opposed to running with your hair on fire
Hmm.
trying to be when to
Yeah.
get the house and then doing your thinking afterward.
Another thing that we have to deal with is managing expectations that spin off of the major media messaging. So everybody's hearing that prices are falling, right? And there's more inventory, right? And so I have buyers that are coming from out of town. And I just was doing this before we got on to record. So they want to buy a secondary property, and they said, we really just want to spend, maybe $750,000 for
Mm.
something in a pretty wide geographic area. And so I looked up what we had to show them, and there are three, and none of them are appealing. And
Hmm.
so while there's this messaging that prices are softening and all of that, we had such an appreciation of pricing that where we're starting from is different. And the inventory that we have, that greater inventory, is often not new inventory. It's inventory that was introduced at the wrong price or in poor
Yeah,
condition and isn't
yeah,
available. So I'm
right.
curious, how are you managing seller and buyer expectations, right? Are they truly aware of what is happening versus assuming that the market has shifted all the way in the other direction?
Yeah, well, we definitely talk about that quite a bit during our listing presentation initially, and then it's an ongoing conversation just to remind our sellers, how long, typical days on market might be, so they know how they fit in with the rest of the listings and the competition in the marketplace. Um, it's interesting because when you say, for example, that there's a 6 month supply of inventory, that doesn't mean, as you well know, that it's going to take 6 months to absorb. It doesn't mean that each of those listings will take 6 months to sell. Some listings still sell on day one or week one,
That's
and some
right.
listings still sell with multiple offers, even in what we consider here a balanced market. Some
Yep.
do. But that statistic, when we say that, suggests that it would take approximately 6 months to absorb all the current inventory. And you're right; it's very interesting when you look at the numbers for Nashville in particular. And when I look at Davidson County, which is Nashville proper, and Williamson County, which is Brentwood and Franklin, primarily as the anchor cities of Williamson County, those two counties have the lion's share of luxury homes in our marketplace. And when you look at average days on market for both counties of homes that um, have sold, it's about 40 days to 50 days, so less than 2 months. Those homes that have sold over the last 6 months on average have sold in that time period. However, if you look at inventory currently in our market in both those counties, it's 70 and 117 days right now, and they're not sold. So when you talk about pricing, it's very interesting. Prices really aren't coming down. At least what we're seeing is you have some sellers that enter the marketplace with, as we discussed before, aspirational pricing, where they base their list price and agents engage with them in listing a property well above what the market would bear based on expectations, probably formed in 21 and 22. And then they had that reality check where the house is not selling, not selling, not selling. And then when it does sell, yeah, the prices did come down on those listings. It's not saying the market as a whole prices are coming down. It's
Correct.
saying we have some sellers that needed to have an adjustment because they went in with unrealistic pricing expectations. So
Yeah.
that's what we're really seeing in our market. That the prices aren't coming down. Things listed at market value are selling for relatively quickly,
Yes.
and prices are going up.
And
But
I
we,
know that one of the things that I'm taking a closer look at and trying to educate my clients on is you can look at what's out there, and what's out there that hasn't sold is 60, 75, in some cases more days on the market. But if you look at what's under contract, you will see that the lion's share of those went under contract in a couple of days, a week, a couple of weeks, because they were
Right.
priced appropriately, positioned appropriately, and presented appropriately, right? Great location, good price, good condition. And so that to me is a telltale sign of what the current buyer is looking for. And so I have one seller that I'm struggling with a little bit now because as we sat and visited just yesterday, she said, look, all these other homes are priced just where I am. And I said, all those other homes aren't selling. And here's the ones that are. And, I had to agree to wait 2 weeks before she'll consider it again. But those are the types of things in terms of setting expectations and communication with our clients that are super important in a market that shifts